Mr. President, you've been having rich experience working with the rest of the world as the president of the World Economic Forum. Before that, you were a very seasoned diplomat. Now, if I put an abstract question to you, I hope you would excuse me, but we are in a transition. Nobody has yet defined this transition very well. And yet many leaders around the world are trying to use words like a new era, a different time, things like that. So when you look at what we are going through, particularly standing in the shoes of the World Economic Forum, how do you see this transition? Where are we in this transition so far?
So a very challenging question. I think we then easily can agree that we are at a historical turning point in many ways. We are in a historical turning point in the fact that there is not one nation that is dominating the rest of the world. We are in a much more multipolar world. There are, of course, two nations that are the largest one by far when it comes to economic power. That's China and the US. I think that will continue, but the jury is still out. Will there be a decoupling between these two economies so they create each of their own economic interest sphere? Or will they continue, China and the US, to collaborate also in the years to come? Of course, there will be some competition and all this, but that we can handle. But I think the cost of a total decoupling will be very high also for the rest of the world. Then I think there is also a lot of emerging economies out there, nations that have traditionally not played such an important role, and they will also ask for increased influence, and they will also say that the United Nations, the Bretton Woods institutions like the IMF and World Bank also have to adjust to this. We know, for example, that some countries that are very large are not even permanent members of the UN Security Council. I think this will come up. And then I think it is very important that we also get a situation where we think win-win. And this is not so much happening now. It's a little bit of lose-lose thinking. What do I mean with win-win? I think what is good for my country is good for your country and vice versa. Today, there's a little bit of a zero-sum game thinking. If I'm moving forward, you will lose, and that's good. No. We have to think like one did after the Second World War in Europe, when the Marshall Plan was launched, then said, oh, if Europe is there with a broken back, it will have negative effect on all of us, because then there will be no demand, there will be no prosperity in Europe, then we can't even sell our products there. So we have to think much more positively about also our neighbors and others. So a win-win thinking. I hope we're going into a win-win era, but I'm not sure if I'm right.